Plaintiff Bonnie Mathis says she and the defendant have been friends since 7th grade. And after Bonnie went through a bad divorce, she moved in with the defendant. Bonnie claims after moving out, the defendant agreed to hold on to her property until Bonnie could retrieve it. But she's suing because the defendant refuses to return her belongings. Defendant Susan Akerley claims she was a good friend to Bonnie and was there for her through 2 divorces, drug problems, and homelessness. Susan cannot believe, after being such a good friend, that Bonnie would repay her by bringing her to court. And she's countersuing for emotional distress.
Start with you.
The defendant and I have been friends since 7th grade. We always kept in contact with each other. We've always been there for each other. And everything was great up until this. I went through a real brutal divorce in 2012. I was in a transition of somewhere to live. At the time, she said I could come and stay with her, and that was around June of 2013. So I stayed with her June 2013 through approximately the middle of November 2013. And when I left there, a few items remained. 2 items were in her living room, and the rest I put out in her garage, and that was okay through her to keep them out there until I could come and pick them up. So I was back in town in February of 2014, and that's when you guys had snowed every day for like 3 months.
Yep.
I couldn't even get to the storage unit. It was like, it never quit snowing and it was freezing. So I went over to her house and talked to her and retrieved some of my items with the kids. And I said I'd come back when it warmed up. And I
told you would come back when it warmed up, as in when?
As in, the snow cleared out a little bit and it became above 0.
Let me hear from you, and then we'll get back. That may be a problem. Go ahead, ma'am. Let me hear from you.
No, I have been friends with Bonnie since 7th grade. I've always been there for her through 2 divorces, drug problems, homelessness, and this is what I get taken to court for being a friend.
And why did she leave your residence?
Because she found a guy that would help her pay her storage units and get her car from being impounded, pay to get that out. It was
Move
pretty
her
much
in, hopefully.
Yeah, I was so happy that he took her.
Oh, okay.
I said, thank goodness.
How did that work out?
Not well, because he called me after she had been there, and he said that he was never so embarrassed because the way she acted when his family was there. They had gotten tickets to go, they lived in Tampa. They were going to Fort Myers to go on this boat, the Key West Express. Bonnie acted so ridiculous. He said he was so embarrassed because when they got there, she decided she wasn't going to go now. And so he said, well, whatever. She wanted the keys to his car, and he said, absolutely not. So she stayed
Totally
there.
irrelevant,
They
Your
went
Honor.
on the boat. No.
It's totally irrelevant.
I couldn't believe that he told me all this, and then he said he gave her a credit card so she would have gas money to get here. He called me up and he said, have you seen her yet? And I said, no. He goes, well, all of a sudden I'm getting $100. Somebody's trying to charge $100 out of an ATM. I said, if you were smart, you would tell her that you need her address to forward her mail so you can get rid of her. And he goes, well, I think I'm going to give her $5,000 because he had a guy move a lot of her furniture and our personal items to Florida.
So he paid her $5,000 to get rid of her?
He said he was going to. And I said, for what? And he said because he didn't want to deal with her, and she could replace everything that she brought.
Okay,
And he wouldn't have to see her again.
No.
He didn't?
Unfortunately.
Well, you need to bring him in here.
I think so.
If you left and didn't get your $5,000, and he told you that would be what you got if you left, you bring him in here.
I would have hurried and skedaddled out.
So what happened with the property, ma'am? Tell me why you're suing her for the unreturned property.
Well,
you told her in February 14 that you would come back when it got warm, and what did you do?
I came back in July of 2014. Before that, I talked to her on the phone in Florida saying I would be there within the next few weeks and I would get that stuff out of her way.
You told her that when? February?
No, that was June. I called and let her know that I was.
And she said okay?
Yep.
All right, and then what happened?
I arrived, and when I arrived into town, I gave her a few calls, and she didn't answer any of my calls that I had made via phone. So I decided it was a Sunday evening. I drove over to her home, knocked on the door, she answered, and I said, hey, and I started to walk in, and she put her foot in the door, or blocked the door so I couldn't get in, and I go, what's going on? And I kind of peeked in, and then I just I knew right then and there that she was gonna keep my stuff.
Why do you think she did that?
I haven't a clue, because I never in a million years would thought she'd be an untrustworthy person.
Ma'am, did you keep her things? If so, why?
No, I didn't. She got everything that she brought to my house, except for the 2 items of the TV stand and the floor lamp. And she said I could keep those for her staying there. Anything I left in the house, you can have, was her
You have the
exact
items
words.
that you alleged that she withheld?
Yes, I do, Your Honor.
Yes, ma'am. And why do you think she's making this up then, ma'am?
Well, number one, as far as the TV stand goes, I never gave her the TV stand. I have a 73-inch TV.
But I
and
see some things more expensive than that, ma'am.
Uh-huh.
I see $800 2 bins of spray and paint supplies.
Correct.
Where are those things, ma'am? What happened to those things?
When she came with Jesse and they moved a lot of their stuff in October and November, she took all that stuff with her.
This is Jesse, the one that paid her
Her
to get out
son,
of his
no,
life?
that's her son.
Oh, okay.
And I have pictures of what she did leave in my garage.
I see, because you said she only left the 2 things.
Inside the house was those 2 items. That is what she left in my garage.
My floor.
Where are they now?
She has them. She came and picked them up. I have pictures if you keep looking.
Got the convertible piled up.
And the police were called that night because I was not going to go out, and I have a car that's a classic car, and I didn't want her to scratch it or anything, and it had to be backed out.
Fit 2 scooters in here.
That's everything she left in my garage.
She cannot fit 2 scooters in here.
She didn't have that. She already picked it up.
Police came.
Yes.
I have the police report for that, Your Honor.
And he said for her to come back when she had a trailer or a truck to move her stuff, because I said I did not want her
what
to
happened?
constantly.
I agreed. That's
She
a great
agreed.
idea.
And then the next day, she never came.
And so?
7:30 at night, I called and I said, Bonnie, I said, all your stuff is in the driveway, and you were
So you
supposed
set
to
her
come and
things
pick
out?
it up. Outside my garage, yes. That's where those pictures I took that day.
Well, that's what happened. You set her things out.
Your
You
Honor,
didn't withhold them, you kicked them out.
but
Well, for 7 months storage,
if you
I got
look
nothing.
in that police report,
But you had agreed to allow her to come in July.
and see on the bottom of that police report, the police officer she demanded a peace officer be there when I gather my things. But she would not
That's
open.
reasonable.
Right, and I thought that was a great idea. She would not open the garage door to save her life. She didn't have a peace officer come there. She hauled my stuff in the driveway, what she
Correct.
didn't want to keep, and then she just locked her up
You
and
did
said,
it the next day, ma'am. What's your emotional distress for, ma'am? 2,000.
Well, when she moved in, she rearranged everything in my house. She put my love seat outside to fit her TV stand and her 80-inch TV. She switched.
You saw her?
What did she move in my house?
You saw her do these things?
Yeah, she did. She moved in and
You saw her. And you allowed it? It was your house.
I know. And she took over, moved my stuff around. Then
You
she.
couldn't say, stop! Don't do that!
Well, I told her, I said, I don't know why you think that this house is yours, because it is my house.
Okay,
And
that was step 1.
she took in, always was giving my daughters a hard
I want to
time.
know what happened then when this woman was moving your house around, having her way, and you told her, this is my house.
Well, then she moved her little refrigerator right next to the couch, so she didn't have to get off the couch.
No, what did she say when you told her to stop? Say she moved the refrigerator next to the couch. What did she say when you told her to stop?
I told her that I didn't want all her
What
stuff in
did
the house.
she say?
She just acted like she didn't care. She didn't care
Well,
what I
ma'am, now was
said.
the time to throw things out on the curb.
But she cried,
That's
saying
when you
that,
should have thrown her things on the curb, ma'am.
that she had nowhere for her kids, and she needed an address for
That
friend
means
of
she
the
can
court.
take over your house if what you're saying is true. And now, that's why I don't believe that. Is this true, ma'am? You just had your way with her house
No,
and she
Your
told
Honor.
you to stop and
No.
stop moving your things and
No,
don't
Your
put
Honor.
the refrigerator next to the couch.
No, Your
It is
Honor.
what happened.
Because whatever you're trying to do, it didn't work. You're pretty slim. So that refrigerator next to the couch didn't cause you any problems. All right, I'm gonna grant you your property, ma'am, $2,500, and I'll grant you, ma'am, nothing for your emotional distress. Have a good day, ladies. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Your Honor. Let justice prevail.
That's what you get for trying to help somebody.
Amen. Hallelujah.
Get a job. Maybe you
There
won't have
is
to go
a
on court.
I never want nothing to do with her again. And she can cry that she's going to lose custody of her children or anything, and I'm not going to help her ever.
That kind of help I don't need.
You need mental
That's
help.
You need mental
That's
help,
why.
is what you need.
Alrighty.
You need to make sure your
All right.
bipolar is under
Go to
control.
confession.